Hello, everyone. Welcome to Travel Tech EMEA second edition. We're really glad to have such great panel today with us. Travel Tech, for those that is the first time that you're watching us, has been created to bring knowledge to our trade globally. We are already on our second edition. We're going to finish this year. This is the last event of the year during this entire week, and we're going to come back on first week of March with the US and Canada. Everything we do here in Travel Tech has been created to be in free space where hoteliers, travel agencies, ODAs, tech persons from the tourist area will be able to get knowledge from the best professionals on the world. So welcome everybody to be here. Don't forget that in case you would like to have a personal meeting with one of our sponsors and know more about them, you can go to traveltech.space. Then you go to virtual stand. You can book or have more knowledge about each company. Don't lose such opportunity. So we'll start straight away. I will present the moderator. The moderator we're going to have today, that is Alex Gomez, a personal friend from AirDNA. Thank you, Alex, to be here. Thank you always to cooperate and be part of this great family that is Travel Tech. Doing some change in the world. Before I give you the word, the last thing I want to say, and remember the public, besides of Travel Tech, we have created also traveltechacademy.com. We are the first place where you can get your courses without pay a penny and have the best professionals, and also get your official certifications from different companies that join us. It's the unique project like that. We're the unique one doing it. So if you want to know more about it, go to traveltechacademy.com. Alex Gomez, welcome, my friend. I'm going to give you the word. So I will leave now. I will be on the back stage. If you need me, I will come back. So Alex, welcome to Travel Tech again. I'm leaving. Ciao, everybody. I leave you with Alex. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Vinicius, and thanks to the Travel Tech family for having me and having this awesome panel set up for us today. I think it's important to mention what we want to cover. So today it's about hotel operations, tech trends, how to engage guests with hotel sustainability tools, and I think we have the best people to discuss that, right? So I'm going to start presenting everyone, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their companies. So we're going to take about 2 minutes each to do that. And then we're going to go for the first round of questions. So I think first and foremost, we have Calum McIndoe. He's Director of Hospitality Sales at the UK at INFOR. Calum, welcome to have you. It's time for you to introduce yourself.
Pleasure to be here, Alex. Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Calum. I'm based in the UK. I'm sales partner with INFOR Hospitality. My official title is UK and Ireland, but it's actually UK Ireland, and whatever my boss sends me. So it could be out to Asia Pac, it could be to America, it could be anywhere at all. At INFOR, we look after our customers and provide them with software solutions to manage their business. And these can be any solution from property management, food and beverage, workforce management, business intelligence, revenue management, and a whole multitude of solutions. We're very lucky to be a global organization. We've got customers all over the globe, which we look after. And that's me, Alex.
Thank you, Calum, for that. And then now that we've introduced you, then I think it's time for Alex Ridaura, CEO and founder at HubOS. Alex, how are you?
Hi, everyone. How are you? It's Alex Ridaura, CEO and co-founder of HubOS. At HubOS, we have a solution to cover the operations in the hotel. So we have a modular solution with to cover different departments like housekeeping, maintenance, quality, F&B, and so on. It's a pleasure to be here. And just adding that in HubOS, we started selling our product 5 years ago, and we are at this point already in over 700 hotels around more than 30 countries. And we have office in Barcelona and also in Sydney. Nice to be here.
Thank you, Alex. And I cannot complain about you having offices in Barcelona. That's where I'm based as well. So not a shabby place to be at. So with that, we welcome Jonatan Tsuff. He's the director of Hotel Connect. Jonatan, welcome.
Yes, thank you. Good to be here. My name is Jonatan Tsuff. I'm the director and co-founder of Hotel Connect. I'm based in Amsterdam. Before starting Hotel Connect, I worked many years in the hotel industry. I worked as an hotel manager and also front desk manager in multiple hotels. Hotel Connect itself, Hotel Connect is an easy-to-use cloud-based all-in-one hotel solution. So basically what we do is it's a property management system, a channel manager, a booking engine, and a fully integrated payment solution as well. So basically a complete solution for hotels. We work mainly with independent hotels, and our goal is to help them improve their operations and guest experience.
Good. Thank you very much for that, Jonathan. And then we now have Jose Antonio Nuñez, who's the Director of Business Development for South Europe at SHR. Jose, nice to see you again, my friend.
Hello, Alex. Really happy to be here. Hi, everyone. So as Alex is saying, I'm the Director of Business Development for Southern Europe for SHR Global. SHR Global started 25 years ago in the hospitality industry. We aim to break the silos between marketing, revenue management, and distribution by our three main products, like our famous CRS, Windsurfer, and Booking Engine, which is helping to manage properly your distribution across direct connection to OTAs and GDS. Also helps you to manage properly your group rates and inventory, and with the CRO to manage properly your call center. We also have Wave revenue management system, which has the best of the artificial intelligence with the human touch, built by revenue managers for revenue managers, and our solution Maverick CRM, which keeps your database clean and organized and helps you to recognize and reward your guests while integrated marketing campaigns management.
Good. Thank you for that, Jose Antonio. And then last but not least, we have Sen Valli. So he's the Managing Director for EMEA at RMS Cloud. Sen, how are you? Welcome to have you.
I'm good, thanks. Very excited to be here today. Thank you very much for having me. So my name's Zen. I'm the Managing Director for Europe, Middle East and Africa at RMS Cloud. We provide property management and distribution solutions to hotels around the world. We've been operating for nearly 40 years, helping hoteliers streamline their operations, reduce their costs, and enhance their operational efficiencies for a number of different components that we offer as part and parcel of the property management systems that we provide. So thank you for having me today. Very excited to be here.
Good. Well, so gentlemen, just before we go in, I just wanted to remind the audience that we do have a comment section. You can post your questions for the panel. You don't usually get this kind of caliber people here, so I would suggest you do all the questions you have. The idea is that we are going to go into a round of questions right now that I'm going to ask each and every one of our panelists. If in between you have something posted on the channel that you have, and then we're going to do some quick discussion, and then lastly, we're going to end up with a kind of a topic we want to cover between all of us, have kind of a friendly interaction with everyone and see if we can get to take some feedback from what's going to happen in the future in our sector, right? But now that, having said that, let's make it fun and simple. Going into the questions, I think I'm going to start with Calum. Calum, so this year is, yeah, I'm sorry I'm putting you on the spotlight first, but it's just, INFOR has been in the market for a very long time, right? It's a very well-known company, and we've gone through a year that's been atypical, so to say, right? So if you look at the last 18 months, starting with COVID, then getting out of COVID, in what ways have you seen interaction with technology change in hotels?
Wow, that's a huge question, Alex, in a number of different ways. I think from when COVID really hit us initially, I think one of the changes in deployment of technology changed. Whereas we were allowed to go onto site, we could interact with trainers, we could look in their eye and make sure they understood the solution we were deploying. All of a sudden that got taken away, and we had to really change our deployment model and move very much into a remote model and figure out ways in which we could support our clients 24/7 in bringing hotels live. Thankfully, we have technologies like this today that we can deploy with our clients, and we can, we utilize that quite well. As that's gone on, thankfully, we've gone back into a bit of a hybrid model. It's not gone completely on site. It's not gone completely remotely. We've kind of found somewhere in the middle, which I think is here to stay. It's a nice way to deploy. It's also a reduction in costs. Completely remote deployment is one thing. but you can't really sit in a room. You don't have that feel if somebody actually understands what you're saying to them. So I think that's a big change in the past while. Another big change that's happened over the past kind of 18 months, which we saw a huge amount of deployments happening when COVID hit, which was quite bizarre actually. So what happened was a lot of hotels went dark, they shut down, and they said, right, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to deploy our new software, to do the upgrades, do it all just now, reopen back up with new software. So actually for the first probably 12 months of COVID, it was exceptionally busy. It then got a little bit quieter, and I think what happened was a lot of hotels said, hold on a second, you promised it would be over, and it's not, and we're still burning a lot of cash. So it got a little bit quiet beginning 2021, and thankfully it's picking back up again just now, which is fantastic. Fundamental changes in the software, I think it comes down to self-service actually, and I'm not just talking about hotel self-service, I'm talking general self-service and consumption of data. Most of us are working at home, I think, just now, although I have been traveling for a few weeks, so I need to consume and do my job wherever I am remotely. And that goes with vendors, that goes with suppliers, that goes with hotelier as well. So the way in which we consume that management software is one thing, but also it's the way in which the end user, our clients, are consuming that software. Every hotel I've stayed in for the past 7 weeks traveling, I've checked in remotely on my phone. I've checked out remotely on my phone. That didn't happen before COVID. I quite like the interaction, but now I'm happy to do all that remotely from a guest perspective. I know when I travel, I know the restaurants I want to go to the airport. I know I can scan my QR code, I can order my breakfast and my coffee, and it'll be delivered to me. I don't have to interact with anyone. Then you've got within the hotel, you've got things like you've got the housekeeping staff, the way in which they consume the technology, because it's not just about keeping our clients safe, it's about keeping our staff safe as well. So housekeeping now are using their mobile device, and they will get their rooms delivered on their mobile. They can clean their rooms. They can say when they're finished in one room, deliver that back to the PMS system. You've got the restaurateurs, obviously, the way in which they consume their software on a remote device. You've got the revenue managers who could be at home, but still managing 3, 4, 5, 10 properties remotely on their remote device. So I think there's been a lot of changes in the way in which we consume and deploy solutions over the past 18 months. And I think they're here to stay. They're not going anywhere away fast, Alex.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Calum. For me, it's very interesting when you mentioned that people actually took early part of COVID as a chance to say, hey, because we cannot open the hotel, so we are not front-facing guests, this is the time to really look at our tech stack and make sure that we have what we need, right? So I would say you have a very well-known PMS product, right? And I would say if things would have been running normal, like the PMS change or the, let's just say, the efficiency and the, let's just say, upgrade wouldn't have been an issue, right? Because you're still working, you're like plugged with day to day. And because you didn't have any operations, a lot of people said, as you said, like, hey, now it's time to look at deployment and whether we can find something more interesting, right? So I don't know if anyone else has some comments around what Calum just shared with us.
Well, I think we have had the same experience as well. Like we saw that many hotels, especially when COVID hit, basically took the opportunity to invest in their systems and to make a switch from any system that we're using to a more appropriate system for them. I think that hotels are always very busy and hotel managers are always very busy, so there's never time to invest in this kind of things. And I think that COVID, although of course everybody hoped it would never happen, but it happened. COVID was a good opportunity for many hotels to do invest in time in the technology and to switch to a different system or systems. And yes, it is. I think I also agree with Calum that it's taking too long, and also for hotels it's taking too long.
Yeah, I think the pandemic itself has been running more than we wanted, right? But I had someone last week saying that COVID not only killed business at some point, it killed legacy, right? So people, as you said, Jonatan, really decided to change because they actually had the time to sit down and analyze the change, right? Whereas before they would have said, no, we cannot change because I don't have the resources, I don't have the time, I really cannot do this. So it's kind of seeing glass half full, so to speak. Exactly. So anyone else that wants to share something on top of Calum?
I think just to second what Calum said, what we found as well throughout the pandemic is some of the contactless technologies previously, which were a little bit of a nice to have now become an essential criteria for anyone looking for new solutions in tech. So that's been quite interesting when they're doing a scope for, say, new systems in their properties. That has been a clear central focus of any of the implementations that we've done over the last 12 months, or the last 12 to 18 months.
Okay, cool. And that's very good. And I think I'm going to use that to tie in. And thank you very much, Calum, for being the first one on the hot seat. I think I'm gonna take this to actually lead into our second question, which is for Alex. So Alex, so you automate, you work with hotel and automation, right? But I think automation right now kind of means 10 different things to 10 different people. So my question would have been, what is it that you see as automation? Or when you talk to hotels, what does automation mean? Actually, we were just discussing a clear example of automation in a process at a hotel. And what is it that you help your clients automate, and why is it so important? You're on mute, Alex, just in case.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that nowadays it's really happening in every single business that anyone is trying to automate everything. So it's not only in hotel operations, so it's happening in everywhere, especially in software for sure. It's more than ever. When you have a CRM or a ERP or any kind of software, you try to automate any kind of repetitive task. So from our perspective, it's the same in hotel operations. So we need to do the things that really matter to our guests. So it's important to automate everything that we can do using the tools that we have in our tech stack. Imagine an example. It's a really easy to understand example when a guest is requesting for some towels, for example, for housekeeping. In a normal way, the guest is calling to the front desk. The front desk is calling, is looking for the housekeeper or supervisor. This one is allocating the task to the room attendants or to the houseman. So just for these communications, maybe it's taking 10 minutes after when I'm already reached out with the right person. And by the end, this is a delayed service for the guest. So when we can automate this with an operation solution or any kind of tool that we can add in our tech stack, in that case, imagine that when the guest is reporting any kind of request, this can be automatically allocated to the right person, because the system already knows who is working as houseman today, who is working in that floor, or in that area. So the request can be addressed automatically in 2-3 seconds to the right person. So the service can be delivered in less than 5 minutes. And then the guest service, of course, it's really impressive for the guest, and also the productivity for the staff is always as well always better. I think that in automation, this is an example for automation that really easy to understand. But another one could be, for example, for the preventative tasks that we can do in a hotel, for example. So we have some tasks that we can do in a daily basis, weekly basis, depending of the task that we have to do. And this can be as well automatically assigned, because we can create that rules on the systems, and then the systems can assign the specific task to the right person, to the right engineer. If we have a scheduled task that is for example, for fire extinction, so we know the engineer that has to be done. Or if we know, for example, that the task is for Legionella, so we have another engineer that is more specialized. So we can do this kind of automation in a really transparent and quick way for the hotel staff, in order that they can focus really on what matters, that is on the guest service, of course. Another example, or another, I think, a key point for that automation is the integration of systems. I think that now more than ever, all the systems has to be interfaced. It's something that it wasn't not a few years ago when we tried to find some partners on technological partners. It was more difficult than now, because now everyone agree that the systems has to be interfaced. So it's very important for us, for example, to know that the guest that is arriving today or that is staying in the hotel has these preferences or has this package contracted, and this can be automatically assigned to in the same way that I said before. This can be automatically assigned to the right room attendants to put that romantic package in the room before the arrival, for example, or this kind of things. And finally, also important is to interface with BMS, for example. If we have an issue with the boiler, we have a problem with water in the hotel, it's very important if the BMS it's able to detect this. It's very important that this can be sent automatically to the operations system in order that the chief engineer is updated about it. They can be fixing it before we are receiving the first guest complaints. So I think that this kind of things, it's for us, it's the meaning of automation. And by the end, the analytic part, of course, it's very important to know what is happening, how many requests we are receiving, the delay about this request, who is the staff that are doing that request, how we can improve that response times. So the only way to do this is with reports, and we know how slow is to do the manual reports day by day. So this is from our perspective the last point of the automation. This is for the own staff. So to get that reports, that dashboards, that information in real time and automatically without any manual action.
Okay, good, Alex. Thank you very much for that. And I think for me, it's very important that automation translates into performance management, right? I don't know if anyone else has some comments about what Alex has said or what you're experiencing in your own companies as well.
Yeah, well, I think that Alex mentioned something very important, which makes automation possible, and this is the integration between systems. I think that it's true that I think a few years back, especially like 10 years ago, definitely, but maybe even 5 years ago, most systems were very close and not really an integration between systems was very hard to accomplish. I think nowadays most systems recognize that you can meet more, and the hotel can benefit if those systems are integrated and are open. Many systems have an open API these days, and I think this really makes automation much easier and much more possible.
Yeah, Jonatan, to your point, it's more of an ecosystem play rather than all in one and just secluded and having very complex integrations, right? So the communication and the sharing of data between tools should be fairly easy, right? Or at least from the source of the data.
Yeah, I think even if if you're a system can have different parts and you can try to do as much as possible. Always you will need partners in different systems to connect to if you really want to offer a full solution to hotels. And I think that it's also for the hotel to decide which systems they want to use. And then I think that for the systems to make sure that everything is connected and working well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if nobody else has a comment, I would like to lead these into, or Calum, you had something to share.
I was just going to say, Alex from Hub, thank you very much for that. I think what you're saying comes under the broad banner of artificial intelligence or machine learning, which we've all been talking about for a very, very long time, but now we're actually seeing it in reality within our workplace. Very good one from Alex saying about building management systems. If the hot water is not at the correct temperature, alert someone, tell them to do it. So giving us information before we have to go and find it. And we're finding that across all different aspects in hospitality. Even in the finance department, we're seeing auto-reconciliation of expense reports. We're seeing auto-reconciliation of chart of accounts. We're seeing that kind of thing happening in the background by artificial intelligence, where we can finally teach to do these kind of jobs. So Alex from Hub OS, absolutely spot on. I think we're seeing a lot of that just now and moving forward.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that also helps with the destruction of silos, right? So the problem in travel and hospitality has always been that we are surrounded by silos everywhere we go, especially in hotels. Information was siloed, the operations were siloed. This new approach actually allows for like a seamless operation, right? So you're like real time getting data. So, and that only will come, and I'm going to tie it to my next question, which is to Jonatan. That only comes, in my opinion, with benefits to the client, right? So the biggest winner of this all, I was hearing this in Focusrite last week, is the customer, right? The customer is the one that gets a better experience, gets better treatment. So in that regard, Jonatan, how do you see from your side that the guest benefits from automation? What are the real life value that they get?
Yeah. So first of all, yes, I think that everybody, it's very clear that the hotel benefits from automation, of course, But I think that it's very important that the guest benefits, and I think that the best guest really benefits from this in many, many different ways. To name a few, I think that Calum already mentioned it, but the online check-in, I think, and the online checkout, I think is offered by more and more hotels to the guests now, especially also due to COVID. It has been the development has been much quicker, the development, and I think that the hotel industry is usually always a bit behind the airline industry. So everybody is already used to check in online for their flight, and I think that more and more guests will also be used to get used to check in online before they arrive at the hotel. And this has many benefits to the guests. So I think that the guest wants an easy and stress-free experience. Doesn't matter if he's traveling for work or traveling for on holiday. So when you're checking in online before you arrive at the hotel, you can either go directly to your room in some cases, or first go to the reception just to pick up your keys. No more long waiting lines to check in at the reception. No more registration forms to fill in. I think that these are the things that people dislike most at the hotel, and I think that this is automation solving this for many of the guests. So that's a big improvement. And I think also, and this was also mentioned by Alex, actually, I think the communication between the hotel staff and the guests is much better due to automation. For some part, because some things are the communication is fully automated, like with automated WhatsApp messages and things like this. But also because the hotel staff simply has more time to invest in this communication, this relationship, because they don't have to do all these daily tasks that they used to do. Right. So maybe a few years ago, people, at the hotel, will ask the guests on checkout how their stay was, And I think now more and more hotels are, checking with the guests during their stay to see if they're happy, and if there's something they can fix, they will fix it during their stay, rather than asking afterwards how it was. So I think that this is, the guest is benefiting from all of this. And I think that this will only, become better and better. I think that, more hotels will use online check-in, and will get better. More hotels will use smarter systems, and they'll get, at the end, the guest is the winner, and will benefit most.
Good. Jonathan, let me ask you this, because automation always gets into, and I open this question to everyone else, but automation gets as a hairy subject, right? Because people take automation into cost saving and kind of reduction of staff, right? Immediately, that's what they think. But it was interesting to hear someone saying last week that automation is actually the ultimate enabler for you to do low-level or low-value tasks repetitively in a very seamless, very efficient way, so that you can put people to do high-value, high-efficiency tasks in a different way. So do you think that's the case? So should we shift the mind of people in industry as automation allowing you to put people to do higher value things rather than focused on like very repetitive, very low value tasks?
Yeah, I think so. I think that this is, you should see automation to see that, that you can improve the guest experience and have your staff do much more things that benefits your hotel, instead of, some of these repeating daily tasks. I think that this is how we should look at it, and not just a cost saving tool. I think that this is much healthier.
Good. I know, like, Sen, maybe you had something to say, if I'm not mistaken. No? Anyone else on this subject before we move on?
Yes, absolutely. If I may, Alex, we are talking about automation and the guest experience. And for example, I could say that we are used now to connection to OTAs through TRS or channel managers. This was available, and nobody thought about that in the past. We were doing that job manually, going into every OTA, and now you have a direct connection through the PMS to your OTAs or GDS through a CRS or a channel manager. And in order to collect all the information, because and break the silos in between departments, as we are talking about, you have a CRM, for example, connected to different points like a PMS, POS, a spa system, golf system. At the end of the day, you cannot upload this information properly and have duplication if you don't have this automation through an open API connection. And for setting up your rates properly, you have the help of artificial intelligence now to help you to be focused on your strategy instead of uploading rates all the time. So I think that it's a guest experience for our customers because you can focus more on them, but it's also a better experience for your employees because your employees can be enjoying their job while giving better guest experience, creating strategies and focus in the future instead of doing more administrative tasks.
Okay, and that's very interesting because we got the first question from the audience. Let me read it out to you before we move on to the next question, which I think is for Jose. So Melissa was asking, what is your opinion about staff collaboration tools as a software? So we know that hotels hadn't kind of adopted them before. And then the second question to that from Melissa was, is HubOS considered a staff collaboration tool? So in your experience, would you say we didn't have those tools before, now we're having better SaaS software that can help us? And then maybe Alex, you can close up by saying, is HubOS a staff collaboration tool or not? Right? But I would like to ask everyone, what do you think, whether you're working with those tools today? What is your advice to hoteliers?
Yeah,
I'll happily start off, Alex. Oh, Alex,
yeah, go ahead.
Go for it, Alex.
No, go ahead, Calum. I will complete after you.
Okay, I was just going to say, absolutely, staff collaboration tools have a place within our industry. Yes, definitely. I think hoteliers and groups need to be careful how they deploy them because you don't want people accessing them as often as they're accessing other collaboration tools, shall we say. Mm-hmm. But the ability for staff to share information across the team, such as we've got a spare table in the restaurant, we've got a spare spa treatment available, to ensure that when the guest is in the bar and speaking to the barman, he knows availability around the estate. So that's good, so everyone can know what's happening. Mr. Jones, the VIP is coming in today. Are we all aware? Have we checked the room? So sharing information such as that is good. Also with collaboration tools, you've got the ability to follow an item. And if I go back to what Alex said a couple of minutes ago, if the boiler is not working and the hot water is not pumping, then the engineer is called to fix it. If I can follow that issue, as I would do on social media, then every time something happens with the hot water, I know about it as the manager. So I know the engineer is coming. I know that he's got to fix a part. So I now know in advance of anything happening. So I think that collaboration tools have absolutely got a place in hospitality. I think we just have to be careful we deploy them.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Alex, you were going to fill that in.
Yeah, well, just to add a few words, because I think that Calum really explained it very well. But just saying that for us, of course, HubOS is a staff collaboration tool because we are, by the end, what we are doing is that we are giving that tools to the staff in order that they can work properly. They can help to each different department. It's important to address any kind of issue or any kind of task to the right department or to the right person. So by the end, we try to do these things at HubOS. And also very interesting, as Calum said, that it's very important that the staff are using this kind of tools that are really designed for that operation and for that goals. In order instead to using another kind of communication tools that everyone knows more for personal uses than these kind of things, because when we are implementing our system in hotels, sometimes what we found as they are using before we were arriving, it's like this kind of tools where they are sharing some information that it's really sensitive information, pictures and so on. So it's very important to avoid to do this and to use the right tool for this kind of things, especially because all of these will be stored in the right database, will be really secured in terms of user access and profiles, and I think that it's very important in this of GDPR that we have to accomplish nowadays. I think that it's very important to use as well for this reason this kind of tools, and of course these other tools are for other reasons, not for this.
I agree with you. I think it's very important to distinguish communication tools than collaboration tools, right? So
yeah.
I have a case in mind, right? So you can use Slack, that's fine, but Slack doesn't allow me to follow up. And I think Calum made a very interesting point into following up on a task and make sure it's completed, right? So that is collaboration. When you don't have the capacity to do that, then you're only communicating with someone else, right? And you have a million tools to do that. So thank you very much for that, guys. I think we're in a good position to move from the next topic, and I think it's something that really interests me as a person. So I'm going to welcome Jose when I do it. And one of the things I found last week really was it was all about sustainability, right? So Focusrite was a big thing about sustainability. Airlines going into carbon zero. A lot of the big hotel chains doing a lot of things. So, but sometimes I lack to see like specific things that you're doing to implement that. So, Jose, how can hoteliers, and we're talking about all types of hoteliers, right? At TravelTech, you have every single kind of hotelier possible. So if they want to implement sustainability policies, is how do you see them benefiting from it? And I would say that is the first place to start, right? So how do they think sustainable, and how can they implement it at the local level?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Alex. So now that you have started with the focus word, allow me to give you some stats about this sustainable trending situation that we have all around the world, but specifically in the hospitality industry. Focuswire was saying that 68% of the travelers are trying to be more aware of sustainable, friendly travel brands to support. Skip reports found that 53% of the customers are willing to pay more for eco-friendly and responsible with the environment providers, while TripAdvisor says 34%. So increasing the occupancy rates and revenue by improving customer experience while reducing cost is the aim of the modern hospitality customization. How can you do that? As I was saying, CRM is where you store all the information. You can segment your clients, your customers, what requests they were having, what they were missing, how to improve and engage with their satisfaction through communications, and even to have the right price at the right moment through a revenue management solution. Because at the end of the day, even you need to have the appropriate marketing and sales channels to get to this type of traveler that is conscious with the going green, as I say. So you need to achieve these results. You need to have a deep knowledge of your customer needs, behavior, preferences, and then stimulate their retention and their loyalty. So having this loyalty or reward system in place in order to give some business advantage to these customers that they are aware of and have a conscious about sustainability, it's a really good way of going green for any hoteliers. Trying green initiatives or like carbon offsetting or plastic waste reduction can have some benefits, like establishing your a responsible brand image for your hotel, including your hotel in a sector where eco-friendly our hotels are increasing and as I said in the statistics, people is looking to even pay more for working and being with these hotel brands or travel brands or any brand that is supporting these initiatives. So you, at the end of the day, you are appealing to modern and educated travelers through your sales and marketing channels. So you need to identify that channels and get their attention through proper marketing communication and strategy. So you also can save operational cost. For example, if they opt out of their housekeeping or environmentally friendly practice, to offset the cost of the travel of the hotel by giving credit or loyalty points. So this is very important to have a marketing strategy also to make them aware of you are responsible with the environment, and even to promote them like being a community, or because they are going to be more loyal to your brand if they know that you are doing this kind of activities. As I said, this starts with your employee because it's the one who is in front of the guests. At the end of the day, you have to promote them, listen to them, and have some stakeholders that is going to run this type of activities. And I would say that you need to design a multi-channel strategy that offers relevant content based to the profiles and their needs, because you have different type of profiles that is going to be wondering and knowing more about what are the KPIs that you are achieving, and because you cannot start at 100% of being eco. It's a road. For example, we are in SHR. We are starting to move this way, and we are planting a tree for each trip in an airplane that we are doing, and the company is planting another one. So it's a road. And you need to start and set up some KPIs, and then when you look back, you realize that you are doing something to make a change. But as I say, you need to properly communicate to your guests, to your employees, have a strategy in place, and then reward them. You will reward them because, as we know, this reward and this environmental and sustainability way of doing things is going to have a reward, because even customers are willing to pay more.
Good. Thank you, Jose, for that. And as you may have noticed, we have a couple of questions from the audience. So thank you, Vladimir, Abhishek, Erika. I think because of the order of the different topics, I'm going to address them differently. Let me take Erika first, because it's very relevant to what Jose was sharing right now. So her question was, do you think that hoteliers have the right preparation to implement sustainability within their operations? So do they know what sustainability really means? Have they prepared, gotten, I don't know, material, training on it? It's open question for anyone that wants to tackle it. I think that it's a new concept, and we've had plays around sustainable practices in the past, but I think they have never been organized or very, very well thought. Just not asking for new towels seems very basic in this day and age, right? So just opening up the question to everyone.
So I would say that it's not that easy, because I have come across of different situations. So you can start like with Calum, with going digital with online check-in or check-out, or by automating stuff and not getting rid of paper like Hotel Connect, or automation on operations and communication, and with the energy with Alex and Havocs. But at the end of the day, I would say that you need to go with an entity to get certified yourself, that is going to help you and guide you in order to achieve certain KPIs, because, as I said, it's not that easy, and it's like a long shot, maybe in 6 months or 1 year, and then you have to iterate. It's never finished. You have to keep having a look at it and reviewing, and involve all your staff. Even we can talk about sustainable destinations, not just your property. No, so I think that you need to work with proper consultants, but you can start doing like having these kind of providers like we are today talking in this great event.
Cool, thank you. Calum, you were going to say something, sorry.
I was just going to go back on what Jose was saying. I think the sustainability part touches all of our technologies here on this panel just now. And I really like what Jose was saying. Alex, you were saying that the whole towel thing within hotels, not changing towels, It was a bit passé. But that's fundamental, because that's using detergent, using water. I'd like to see the onus on the guest changing. Instead of saying, I automatically opt in for my towels, they need to opt in for the towels. I never need towels changed for 2 days, 3 days in a hotel. I don't do it at home. Why do I need that in a hotel? So we should say to the guests, we're not doing your room unless you want something changed. I stayed in a brand hotel this week in Prague, and the first thing they said was, we're not doing rooms. Do you need anything? I said, yeah, coffee. Towels? No, just coffee. That's all I need. So I think hotels can start at the bottom by doing some just little changes, like the towels, like plastics. It's common sense, guys. We all know it, like recycling. Hoteliers know how to start off. You don't have to implement a solution that Alex was talking about at HubOS regarding buildings management, so that you can actually plot, if I lowered the temperature of the water by 2 degrees, what would that mean to my bottom line and monetary value? That's a nice endpoint to get to, but that does require investment. And some of the bigger guys should be looking at that. For the smaller hotels, it's common sense, and they should just be doing it and utilizing the guests to drive them as well.
No, I completely agree with you, Calum. My own experience last week was I was thinking about all the plastic being used for amenities. I said, like, hey, we now have bamboo toothbrushes, right? It's a no-brainer. And I'm willing to pay more for that kind of thing rather than just keeping the old plastic bags and toothbrushes and everything. So, and it creates loyalty, because Jose also mentioned something about loyalty and people being loyal to your brand if you show care, right? So if you plan your strategy right, then it makes a lot of sense, right?
I'm an even cheaper date than that. I stayed at a hotel in Amsterdam recently. They offered me a beer if I didn't clean my room. I took the beer.
Perfect pitch. Anyone else that wants to add anything?
I think just to add to that, when it came to the original question, it's important initially to start gathering data and understand your carbon footprint as an organization. And you don't have to do it by yourself. There's online tools available, such as Sustainable Hospitality Alliances, who've got the Hotel Carbon Measurement Initiative, helping hoteliers calculate that. And then organizations such as Alberts, they've got a number of free training tools available to help understand sustainable production. So that would be a good start to start initiating sustainable practices in your organization.
Well, that's good to know. I think what we'll do is afterwards with Natalia and Vinicius, maybe Sen, we're going to ask you for those links so we can share with the broader audience, right? So thank you guys for that. But one thing that I was picking up from everyone is that it's all mainly driven by technology, right? So Sen, asking you, if we go the sustainability way, so how can technology help hoteliers, right? Because it seems daunting at first, as you said, like, hey, you need to calculate carbon footprint. A lot of people would get scared, right? So how would you say technology can help them do that in an easy and efficient way? How can they benefit from technology?
I mean, it's quite interesting because I think we've all of the panelists have talked about sustainability in some form. But let's face it, we can talk about sustainability for hours and hours and hours. But for the focus of this, I'll talk about the guest journey specifically. I mean, sustainability in general are businesses that are helping significantly reduce their environmental impact through implementing green best practices, whether that includes reducing waste, saving energy, cutting down on water usage. But just last week, I was speaking to a few of our clients and some of my friends in the hotel industry about what their views were in implementing sustainable practices. And what was quite interesting is sustainability meant different things to different individuals that I was speaking with. Although most had implemented some form of sustainable practices throughout their properties, if they were being completely honest, and I'm sure a lot of the individuals on this call can relate to this, there were so many other factors operationally that took precedence on a day-to-day basis, which meant that they could not dedicate their full efforts on sustainability and implementing them practices. I was talking to independent hotels, by the way, just to make that clear. But in terms of sustainability, it's simply not optional anymore. I mean, Jose kindly shared some facts and stats before, but according to Skift as well, 83% of global travelers think sustainable travel is vital. And studies in the US and UK summarize that over 88% of consumers want brands to help improve their environmental and social footprints, which touches quite nicely with what Calum just said about the towels, etc., and educating your guests. But according to Booking.com's 2021 Sustainability Travel Report, 3 out of 4 accommodation providers advise that they have implemented some form of sustainability practices throughout their properties, yet almost half of travelers still believe there are not enough sustainable travel options available. Now, this is something that needs addressing, but how can technology influence that? Because there's reports that have found that a single hotel guest staying for one night generates about £2 of waste per night. And almost half of that accounts for plastic, paper, cardboard, etc. So if you look at the guest journey, say from a booking perspective, if I go onto booking.com, if I go onto TripAdvisor, I've got the travel sustainable property leaf on booking.com. On TripAdvisor, I've got the Green Leaders program. But if your property, if your property is awesome and they've actually got sustainability in a measurable format, you need to make sure that you're marketing the heck out of it, because this is going to stand yourself apart from the 10 of other providers in your comp set. Studies have also shown increases in revenue. I think Jose touched on that earlier in relation to advertising the fact that you are a sustainable property. But is your own booking journey advertising the fact that you are implementing sustainable practices throughout your organization? And there's that kind of balance between educating your guests on sustainability and rewarding your guests on sustainability as well. So rewarding your guests with points of beer, etc., on their sustainable practices. But should you go as far as, if you're an independent organization, having a sustainable rate, so reducing the rate based on the guest, not having additional cleans, additional linen changes, and actually then reducing some of the operational workload of your operational teams at the same time, and looking at sustainability in your kind of environmental, social governance component and format as well. But when it comes to the guest journey, let's face it, it's filled with waste, which could just be removed from implementing smarter technology. We don't need paper registration cards anymore, plastic key cards, even information packs. You can do all of that by digitalizing the guest journey. How many times has everyone walked away with a plastic key card from their hotel, which has then been discarded as soon as you've got home? But digitalizing that, digital keys, digital communications, etc. It's all items that we can start implementing or looking into within your organization if you haven't done already. Now, I'm not sitting here completely alien to the fact that not all hotels and accommodation providers have the capital expenditure to invest in technology to help reduce their carbon footprint and implement greener practices. But technology, especially property management systems, etc., are much more accessible nowadays and can go very far in helping hotels become more sustainable.
No, I completely agree with you, Sam. So you got me at the plastic key card thing. I was last week in 2 different hotels, and one of them was keyless, right? So it's code-based, great experience. I don't have problems checking in, right? And all of a sudden, I'm reducing the carbon footprint I have, right? So with like 0 effort. Guys, anyone that wants to add anything before we go? I think we're getting a lot of questions, so I just want to make sure I address them.
I would just like to add, so I think that digitalizing the guest experience is indeed, beneficial for the hotel, for the guests, and also for the environment. I think that this is something that is very clear, that Jen said very well.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think one of the things that Sen and both Jose touched based on is, so we are solving it for hoteliers and we're saying how they need to do stuff, but we haven't addressed it on the customer journey side. So there's no incentive at some point for travelers to become greener, right? So they do it out of their own accord or free will. I think that if you're putting them like, well, I'm going to use Sen's word, right? But if you're booking.com and they tell you, hey, you're a genius because you booked 3, 4, 5, 7 times a year, I could actually say you're a non-sustainable traveler because every time you booked, you never chose for the sustainable option, right? And you can actually punish, for a lack of another word, or actually reward people because you're choosing sustainable products, right? So that could be a good way of incentivizing the traveler also to be more sustainable, right? So, but again, first of all, guys, thank you very much for this first round of questions. I think let me go through our audience. There were a couple of questions that would be interesting to understand. This one is related to the last topic. I'm going to go back to Abhishek later, but Richard was asking us if there's any technology in hospitality which will reflect or promote accommodation with a larger sustainable supply. Can you think of any examples rather than what we're doing in terms of platforms? any technology that you think might help you promote that, or is we're still a long ways to do that? I think if you don't do it on the platform itself, like it doesn't really depend on technology to do it. It's marketing and how you actually list your company, your accommodation.
I think it's quite a broad question that in relation to technology, because I mean, all of the technologies that we have on this panel today will be having some components of functionality within their systems, which help with sustainability and sustainability options. But in relation to the larger sustainable supply chain, it's unique to each organization that you're looking at. So scrutinizing your supply chain is based on your individual business and your organization. And that's when you need to take a look at how you are implementing sustainable practices within your property based on the whole environmental, I was going to say factor, I don't know if that's the right word, but where your property is based. So if I'm a resort on a private island, I don't know, in the Maldives, as opposed to if I'm a city property in London, your sustainable practices will be very different, and they are very kind of measurable to your organization and where it's based. So yeah, taking a look into kind of the whole picture rather than just the individual technologies is what I would recommend.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sen. And I think it doesn't really depend on completely on technology, right? It's general practice, belief, values at your organization, and values of the people you work with as well. Right? It all comes down to that. So before we go into discussion topic, there was a very good question by Abhishek. So Abhishek was telling us that in his years of working with hoteliers, hotels have always said that it's important about the human touch being very central, experiential marketing. But now we go into automation and we're kind of taking human interaction from that as well. So do you think technology will change those kind of accommodation fundamentals post-COVID? Do you think that because we are automating and we're getting more technology, we're moving away from the human touch? I think we covered it before, but I would like to get your sense out of it.
Well, they will definitely change. Like technology will definitely change the interaction and definitely change the guest experience in the hotel. But I don't think it will. It will make it. I think it will make it more personalized. And I don't think the human touch will go away. I think that we mentioned it earlier that now hotel staff will actually have more time to invest in the guest relationship, and also more tools to do that. So I mean communicating with the guest directly through WhatsApp or through any messaging tool. I think that it will be much more personalized, and the human touch will not go away. I think that of course this will be for most of the hotels. I think that for some hotels specifically, we also have some hotels which focus on hotel without staff or with this limited staff, but still I think those hotels will want to maintain a good guest relationship, so they will offer concierge tools online, and they will keep communicating with the guest. So I think that for most hotels the experience will definitely change, but it will only, I think, improve the guest relationship.
Good, thank you for that, Jonathan. Anyone else?
Yeah, just adding that the same, that of course the communication will keep between staff and guests, because by the end it's hospitality. So the difference is that we are removing the analog part of that communication. Some years ago, the guest had to take the phone of the room to call to the reception. By the end, they are communicating by phone, but not by a smartphone. And nowadays they can scan a QR code. They can use any kind of way to get that communication tool with the staff, and they can request anything that they need. They can book the outlets for the breakfast or for the lunch, or they can, by the end, they can put any kind of preference that they really want to receive during the stay. So by the end, that communication still exists, and of course, more than ever, the staff will be ready for attending them, because they will have more time. It's I think that now it's more difficult to find the front desk people doing a call, because they are already speaking with the guests. They already have that preference or that request. And it's very important as well that everyone is knowing what the guest wants. So if I'm joining the outlet for the breakfast, the hostess there already knows what I want, already knows my preferences, already knows if I had a complaint yesterday. So I think that everyone will be more customized than ever. So that, of course, that communication will or should exist more than ever, I think.
Okay, good. And thank you for that, Alex. And Calum, you were going to add something on top as well.
Well, it's just a small thing, really. I think within the hotels, we've got to have at least 2 guest journeys available to the guests. You've got to have digitalization and non-digitalization. I stay in hotels all the time like you guys do. I don't want to speak to anyone. I want to get in there, check in, get my key, go to my room. That's what I want. I would like the hotel to recognize that next time and say, we didn't check in last time, so automatically going to check in virtually next time. That would be good. We're not quite there yet. But obviously people of a different generation or want a different experience. They want to come to the front desk. It's a 5-star property. They want the bellhop to bring them upstairs. They want to have that pampering, and you must have both levels of journey. Excuse me. To me, my preference and my guest journey is perfect for me, because as a business stayer, that's what I want to see. And I think utilizing technology gives me what I want as also the person wanting the 5-star treatment.
Good. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, I agree with you. So when I go to hotels, I don't like checking in. Funny enough, when I go into alternative accommodation, I would like to have a check-in experience because of the different nature. It's like crazy. I cannot find reason myself, but yeah, it is what it is, right? So guys, first of all, thank you very much for this first round of questions. I think that now let me set up the stage for the second round of questions, and we're getting more and more questions, so we're going to address them at the end of this part. But the idea is that now we're going to go into a full-blown discussion topic, right? And I think out of the ones that we got from audience and the travel tech shows as well, I think there was one that I always like to ask, because we are now wrapping up 2021. We start seeing a little bit of recovery after a kind of a very grim year for hoteliers. So now going into 2022, my question is, what do we expect 2022 to be in terms of technology for hotels? What is the biggest change that you're expecting to see? And maybe I can do it in order, so we keep it. I can start on my screen. So Jose, driving it to you. So what do you expect 2022 to have as the biggest change in hotel tech?
Well, this is a huge question. I think that a lot of things are going to happen in the hospitality industry. But if I may say, what I truly believe, that we have realized that as hoteliers, because I consider myself a hotelier, I come from hotel business, and then I moved to be a provider. It's that we need to have more engagement with our customers, and this to have a better communication with them of what are you doing at the moment. And as we said, when there is no demand, you already have a customer database that you are not using. So in terms of statistics, we say that it's between 7 times and 15 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than reactivating the one that has been with you in the past. So we are talking a lot of times about big data, and if I may say, I'm really a big fan of small data, because you need to keep all these preferences. Like, for example, you have ordered a pillow through in the past, or how do you want the room service, or you need to keep this data and then add accordingly for the next stage. And at the end of the day, this is gonna make you even improve your numbers, because if I also revenue management pricing, if you have the same category but with more and better reviews, you can sell a more expensive price. So at the end of the day, you need to promote and follow up with service with your guest stay afterwards, and then even reward them. So other users can say it's better than other users say what they say about you than what you say about you. So I'm really really a big fan of CRMs. So we here, because we are tech guys, and we are like, go digital, check in, check out. But I think that now hotel chains that have realized of CRM how important it is to even customer the experience of a guest. It's not, we call it upselling, but it's the experience. If I may know that I have a gym, I maybe book it your hotel instead of the other one with a swimming pool, to be aware of the services. Or when I'm coming to your hotel, if I can have a better with sea view room, so it's improving my experience all the time. So I'm really kind of CRM and a revenue management system. Revenue management system. They can make the maths. Then I don't know how many times faster than you, but they can give you the recommendation. So some people is not fully ready to be working fully on automate if you have a black box. That's why here we have, for example, a strategy builder here in our company. Like you have the algorithms, but at the same time you can set up your correct pricing workflows. Like if you weren't doing marketing automation, so you interact with the system. So because the computer can make a lot of maths and everything at the same time, but you have the feeling, because we have a year that has been in a pandemic situation, that you have no background. Maybe you are a hotel opening, you have no data. So you need a person at the same time. What is the feeling about the market, about the destination, about the travelers? Computer doesn't know about if Germany or UK can allow their the people to travel. So you need to have the best of how to acquire new customers at the right time with the right price, and improve your revenue and reduce your cost of acquisition, while you can do that with having all this data, but using it and have it properly segmented.
Okay, cool, Jose Antonio. And then let me pass on word to Alex, because Alex, I know that you have to leave. You're in the airport. So first of all, thank you very much for making it to the session. So maybe what we can do is have you now share your thoughts, and then also kind of leave a farewell comment to the audience.
Yeah, thanks so much as well to all the attendants, as well all the colleagues that are here, really experts of the technology in hospitality. So it's a pleasure for me to be here. And just to conclude my presence here, I would like to add that I know how difficult it is for the hotelier to choose the right technology, because there are a lot of systems nowadays in the market. So all of them are really awesome. So it's really difficult to see which one is the ones that are fitting more to my hotel or to my chain. It's really difficult. So we know that's why these kind of sessions are really interesting for them. But what I can say about it is just that it's important to think not only about the requirements that I have today. It's also interesting to know to think about the requirements that I will have in the future, or the needs that I will have to cover with the systems that I want to acquire. So it's very important to see that the system that I want to implement right now, it's working for me today, but also will be working for me after next 3 to 5 years, in order that we know that how difficult it is to change a system. It's more expensive to change a system than paying the license for the same one that we already acquired. It's not only about pricing, it's also about time, and also about how frustrating it's for the hotelier to teach to the staff to change the new systems and so on. So I know that how difficult is it, but I think that it's very interesting after that last year that it was, I think, that most challenging of the last years. But I think that it's very interesting to see that today almost all hotels are looking for technology. I think that it's really changed. I think that the things changed more the last 18 months than the last 10 years. So I think that it's something that it's very interesting in terms of technology, and it's something that it's really exciting for the ones like us that we are working for technology and for this industry that it's hospitality. So just adding this, that we know how difficult it is to choose the right tool, but we are here to help, and hopefully that all the hotels in the future will be implementing technology in different areas of their business. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. I hope you have a good flight. Safe. We have to disconnect, so I'll move on. But thank you for all the things that you shared with us today and with the broader audience.
Thank you
Jonatan,
very much.
Let me put it up to you then. So what do you think is the big change next year?
Yeah, so I don't think there's one big technology product that changes for next year, but I do think that the entire guest experience, what we talked about, is basically what is changing. So I think that what Zen already said earlier is like the tools, like the online check-in and the communication tools with guests, things that were like nice to have before. During the last 1.5, almost 2 years now with COVID, is becoming like a must-have tools, and I think that more and more hotels realize that. And I think the brand hotels earlier and then the independent hotels a bit later, but still more and more hotels are realizing that and are investing in this. So I think that for next year, I think that the online check-in and like a good direct booking, which also is a big trend. But the online check-in and the whole guest journey, I think is going to be mainstream and changing a lot of things. I think that Calum, who likes to, don't see anybody and go to his room right away. I think that he is able to do that in much more hotels next year than he was able to do it last year. So I think that's the big change that we are seeing.
Thank you for that, Jonatan. Calum?
Yeah, I think a lot of hotels are being driven into technology. They're being pushed down that road now because they have to go digital. As we've all said, they've got to have that guest journey changed. And I think we'll see a lot of hoteliers looking very closely at the tech stack moving forward. I see that happening. Making sure they've got the foundation blocks in place to drive the business forward for the next 10 years and allowing the sort of connections in and out, the data flows that we want to drive the business on those peripheral systems. A property management, a hotel's always going to have a property management system, but you don't need to use that for everything. Guest preferences, holding a guest profile in a PMS system is wrong, fundamentally, because it doesn't do it properly. It should be, as Jose said, you should have a CRM system which is properly holding that guest data. And every time you make a reservation, you query the CRM system and bring forward a true guest representation of what that guest wants to do. Revenue management, again, as Jose said, we're seeing the peripheral systems that actually drive revenue are actually being more in the fore. But unless you've got that tech stack correctly to push and pull the data, you're not going to achieve that over 10 years. So I think a lot of that's going to happen moving forwards. Alex, you're on mute.
Sorry, my bad. It's the most common used phrase in the history of the world right now, so you're muted. Sorry, Sen, I was saying, so now so last but not least, what do you think is going to happen next week?
I'm trying to add to what everyone's already said, but I don't know if there's much more. One area that I would say will see a significant shift is experiential travel. And hotels who haven't invested in social media strategies are doing more and more so now, which is what we're seeing with our clients, because you had lockdowns in different countries at different times, people looking at their Instagram feeds, Facebook feeds, etc., and looking at what people were experiencing, feeling slightly left out at the time, let's face it, and then wanting to experience the same thing as and when reopening had happened. So experiential travel, I think we'll see huge kind of investments within that area. And I can't remember who it was, but touched on the CRM component and marketing gets to the fact of that. The staycation data set that you had with people vacationing and staycating, if that's the right word, marketing to them in 2022, 2023 to drive that repeat business. We're seeing a lot more investment at RMS Cloud in kind of smarter room technologies, which I think Calum may have already touched on. But whether that's a fad right now and it's going to see long-term growth, or whether that's just, you know, in the interim, we'll see. Remains to be seen.
Agreed. Thank you all for that. And maybe I'm the disruptor always. I like to add my little piece of mind. I think that what we are up for next year is we're also going to see a big shift into the B2C space. Like I'm completely one of those crazy ones that believes that so far let's just say the reigning model in travel has never been a challenge, and COVID came and just broke it up, right? So I think that now we have a new breed of traveler going forward. I think Calum mentioned it, when we have different kind of customer personas, different kind of customer needs. And if you look at the B2C offering for that, is nobody's addressing it well, right? So experiences are bloated, like the customer journey itself is very, very messy. So I think one of the big focuses next year would be really understanding the new traveler generation and what their interests are, so they can get a very curated, very personalized experience, right? And you can only achieve that with the right supply and with the right technology as well, because it's all about technology and making it efficient. So guys, I think it's 20 past 1 here in Europe. I think what we could do is, if you want to do this, is just have 2-3 minutes as a parting comment to our hotel audience. Share your thoughts, share maybe some insights and some recommendations for next year. I think we can start the other way around now. So Sen, maybe what we can do with you is, what would be a good parting motivational message to our audience from RMS Cloud, and then maybe invite them to visit, see you, seek some assistance.
So motivational message. So parting wise, I was talking about sustainability today, and I think there may have been a question in relation to the cost. So I would say maybe shift the mindset a little bit. And if you are concerned about the cost, look at the local government grants that are available throughout each region, because you'd be surprised. There's so many different funding available to help your organization become a little bit more sustainable. But if you are interested in sustainable as operational and property management system technology, feel free to get in touch. We've got a virtual stand. Reach out on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And if there's any links, etc., that you need, please feel free to reach out directly to me as well. But thank you very much for having me today.
Thanks. Thank you. It's been a privilege for me and the Travel Tech team. Calum, leaving you the space now.
Okay, thanks, Alex. If I had any advice, it would be, don't watch the television, don't listen to the press, okay? It is getting better. It is getting better. I'm traveling a lot just now. The hoteliers are keen to welcome us back into the hotels. They have the technologies, or they have procedures in place to make sure that we are being kept safe and they're being kept safe. But for hoteliers, if you are looking to change technology, if you look for some advice, just a little bit of consultancy, just to understand what's going on, there's a lot of companies out there who are happy to chat to you and help you on your journey forwards.
Good. Thank you very much for that, Calum. Jonatan?
Yeah, just also to add to that, I think that, we talked that many hotels have taken the time now with COVID to invest in their technology and to look around what is the best technology for them. And I think, especially for those hotels who haven't done that yet and are still with an older system, I think that it's worth looking around. I think also, as I mentioned, I think that the systems nowadays are much more affordable than they used to be, and it definitely pays off to look into it. I think that I know for hotels it's a big step, especially changing PMS. It's a lot of mess moving all those bookings, and it involves training all your staff. So, but I think that it's definitely worth it. And if for those hotels who haven't done it recently, I think that it definitely pays off looking around and still doing it. It's still a good time for it.
Good, thank you, Jonathan. And then last but not least, Jose.
Yes. First of all, I wanted to thank you for the invitation. It's been a pleasure to share with all of you and learn from you, because it's you always learn. And if I may say, the first thing I would say is to invest in your employees, because they are your brand. They are the one who are in front of the customers usually, and help them to achieve your goals. Maybe putting in place a good technology that's gonna help them to have more data for better decision, to streamline their work operation, and to improve the customer experience at the same time. So that investment, it's gonna help your customers and your employees, that who is your top stakeholder. And in case you need anything from us, we will be really happy, very happy to help you out, because we are not just software providers. We are consultants, and we are here to talk with you and to understand your pains, and maybe we can help you. But feel free to reach out at any time.
Thank you very much, Jose. And to be honest, there was one parting question from Rajiv, who was saying how to motivate hoteliers to invest in technology. I think all of you have done that already through the session. So we invite everyone to just read through or listen through the call. I first of all want to thank you and your companies to making sure that you are here, that allowing you the time to be part of Travel Tech and First Day. At least for me and AirDNA, I'm not only glad that I can moderate this, but also be part in the presence of such esteemed colleagues and experts in your field. And I think we also have Vinicius now join the session. We're at the bottom of the half of the hour. I think we've covered everything we wanted. Thank you very much. Thank you at the audience for being part of Travel Tech. And yeah, please feel to reach out to Travel Tech or anyone at the virtual stands to get more information about how each of these companies can help you make more business. And I think Calum mentioned it a couple of times. Lead or stream revenue, create new revenue streams for your businesses to make sure that you have a great 2022. And with that said, I thank you, everyone. Bid you a good day. And we are going to now put you in there with a video from Travel Tech to end up the show. Thank you very much, and hope you stay with us for the rest of the week.
Thank you, everyone. Also, thank you, Alex, for everything. Thank you, Jose, Jonatan, Alex, Zan, Calum. Was a great show with a great session. We have very interacted with the public, so thank you very much to be here to support us as Travel Tech. It's focused on educational content for our trade globally, and we are the unique and the most important foreign online that happens all over the world, with 5 shows during an entire year. We start every year with US, Canada. After that, we do Brazil, Portugal. Then we do APAC, then Latin and Spain, and we finish every year with EMEA. So thank you, everybody. We have a next section in 2 hours and a half. We're going to have another forum. So see you there. Thank you very much, Alex, always for your great moderation and to help us always when we need it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the sponsors: Ideas, Review Pro, the Hotel Networks, Armohab, Profit Room, Book Assist, Revam, RMS, Ray Tiger, Libra, Royback, Kill Planet, Bookomai Now, HubOS, INFOR, Expedia, Simple Hotel, and Sabre. Woo! It's a lot of great. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.